Top 30 Most Scandalous Vintage Photos History. Tried to erase. What if a single photo could capture a cultural revolution, a hidden scandal, or the rise of an icon? From daring fashion statements to untold behind-the-scenes moments, these images aren't just snapshots. They're stories history tried to bury. Get ready to uncover the scandalous, the bold, and the unforgettable frames that defined an era. The side-eye that shook Hollywood, Sophia Loren versus Jayne Mansfield. In 1957, Paramount Pictures threw a party to welcome Italian star Sophia Loren to Hollywood. It was a classy affair until Jayne Mansfield arrived. Known for her bombshell looks, Jayne made a scene in a jaw-dropping pink satin dress that left very little to the imagination. One photograph captured it all. Sophia Loren, caught glancing at Jayne's revealing neckline with unmistakable side-eye. That single look sparked endless headlines and became a tabloid sensation. But this wasn't just celebrity drama, it revealed deeper issues. Jayne's dress pushed against 1950s norms, challenging how women's bodies were policed in public. Years later, Loren explained her look wasn't judgment, it was concern. She worried the dress might slip and cause a scandal. Though often asked to sign the photo, Loren always declined, out of respect for Mansfield, who died in 1967. Behind the glamour, this image tells a bigger story about pressure, perception, and the price of fame. Anna Nicole Smith, a wedding that shook the headlines. On June 27, 1994, 26-year-old Anna Nicole Smith married 89-year-old oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall II in Houston, Texas. The scene was straight out of a soap opera. White roses, flowing champagne, and an eye-catching white satin gown. It was intimate, over the top, and instantly controversial. The couple met while Anna was working as a dancer, and their massive age gap, over 6 decades, sparked immediate public suspicion. Many assumed she was marrying for money, but Anna always insisted, "I love him." Still, the fairy tale image didn't last. Just over a year later, Marshall passed away, and Anna found herself in a bitter legal war over his estate. The courtroom drama played out in headlines for years, turning her life into a media spectacle. What began as a lavish ceremony became one of pop culture's most debated love stories, raising questions about fame, fortune, and the fine line between romance and controversy. Barbarella, Jane Fonda's space-age revolution. Released in 1968, Barbarella is like a wild fever dream of sci-fi, sex appeal, and pure 60s psychedelia. Directed by Roger Vadim, Jane Fonda's husband at the time. The film is based on a French comic and follows Barbarella, a space explorer sent to stop the villainous Duran Durand. From the moment Fonda floats into frame, you know this movie's different. Her famous zero-gravity striptease became iconic, but Fonda wasn't playing Barbarella as promiscuous. She was innocent, raised in a world where sexuality was natural, not taboo. The visuals are outrageous. Think bizarre planets, surreal costumes, and wild alien encounters. But beneath all that glitter was a powerful message. Barbarella's confidence and freedom reflected a changing era, one where women were starting to reclaim their bodies and stories. Bettie Page, the pinup who redefined power and provocation. Bettie Page's journey into stardom started by pure chance, on Coney Island in 1950. An amateur photographer, Jerry Tibbs, noticed her and took a few shots. That moment launched one of the most iconic modeling careers of the 20th century. What made Bettie different? She owned the camera. With her trademark bangs and magnetic confidence, she wasn't afraid to explore taboo themes. Her work in men's magazines, especially her 1955 Playboy centerfold, often included elements of bondage and fetish, which shocked some but empowered others. While critics focused on the controversy, Bettie saw her work as self-expression. In a time when women's roles were tightly defined, she broke the mold, embracing her sexuality without apology. She became a quiet force behind the coming sexual revolution. By 1957, the weight of judgment and public scrutiny led her to walk away from modeling, but her influence never faded. If you could witness one moment from this video in real life, which would it be, and why? Marilyn Monroe, from Golden Dream to Playboy's first icon. Before she was a global icon, Marilyn Monroe was just trying to get by. In 1949, strapped for cash, she posed nude for photographer Tom Kelly, signing the release as Mona Monroe to stay anonymous. For $50, she posed against a red velvet backdrop in what would become an image that changed everything. At first, the photos went unnoticed, but by 1952, Marilyn was on the rise, and when people realized she was the woman in the Golden Dream calendar, it caused a media storm. Her studio panicked, urging her to deny it, but Marilyn didn't. She owned it. "I was broke and needed the money," she said. That honesty made her even more beloved. Vulnerable, real, and relatable. Ironically, the scandal launched her into superstardom. In December 1953, she graced the very first cover of Playboy, forever linking her name to beauty, bravery, and a new kind of fame that broke old Hollywood rules. Raquel Welch, the 1970s ultimate screen siren. 1970 was a breakthrough year for Raquel Welch, thanks in large part to her dazzling TV special Raquel. Premiering on April 26th, it wasn't just a show, it was a full-blown spectacle. With over-the-top costumes, elaborate musical numbers, and guest stars like Tom Jones, Bob Hope, and even John Wayne, it lit up the ratings and confirmed Raquel's superstar status. By then, she was already famous for her unforgettable look in 1 million years BC. That fur bikini became legendary. But Raquel wasn't content being just a poster girl. She took risks, like her bold performance in Myra Breckinridge, proving she had real acting chops. In 1970, her face was everywhere. Playboy even crowned her the most desired woman. But more than a pinup, Raquel helped redefine femininity on her own terms. Powerful, glamorous, and unapologetically ambitious. She didn't just follow the rules, she rewrote them for the next generation. Marilyn Monroe, her final swim, her final statement. These stunning images by photographer Lawrence Schiller were taken on the set of Something's Got to Give, a film that, heartbreakingly, Marilyn Monroe would never finish. After a swim, she posed playfully, wearing only a flesh-toned bikini bottom. At first glance, the photos feel light and carefree, but there's more beneath the surface. This wasn't just a publicity shoot. Marilyn was reclaiming her image. By choosing to pose this way, she was making a bold statement, one of confidence, control, and defiance in an industry that constantly objectified her. Had the film been completed, it would have marked the first time a Hollywood star appeared nude in a mainstream release. These photographs now carry extra weight. Just weeks after they were taken, Marilyn was gone. What remains is a poignant portrait of a woman embracing her power, while quietly battling the demons the world never truly saw. Sophia Loren, the Italian star who changed Hollywood. Born in Rome in 1934, Sophia Loren rose to stardom in the 1950s with a rare mix of beauty, talent, and presence. But it was her role in Two Women that made history. In 1960, she became the first actor to win an Oscar for a non-English language performance, an achievement that opened doors for international cinema in Hollywood. Sophia wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Her shelves filled with awards: 7 David di Donatello Awards, a BAFTA, a Venice Film Festival Volpe Cup, and 5 special Golden Globes. In 1991, she received an honorary Oscar for her lifetime of cinematic brilliance. Her personal life drew just as much attention. Her romance with producer Carlo Ponti, who left his wife for her, caused a media frenzy. But their enduring relationship helped shape her career and legacy. Beatlemania Unleashed. Chaos at Shea Stadium. This iconic photo captures the sheer madness of the Beatles' 1966 concert at Shea Stadium, part of their final US tour. It wasn't a total sellout, but you'd never know it from the crowd's energy. When they launched into Day Tripper, the place exploded. Fans couldn't hold back. Hundreds stormed the field, desperate to get closer to their heroes. Police scrambled to hold the line, wrestling with screaming teenagers as the band played on. The noise was deafening. The Beatles could barely hear themselves, and security was stretched thin trying to maintain order. But for those in the crowd, it was magic. The chaos, the adrenaline, it became one of those once-in-a-lifetime memories. This wasn't just a concert, it was the height of Beatlemania, a moment when the world's biggest band met the unstoppable force of their fans. Thank you for watching. To continue with more content, comment 1 to let us know you're still following. Marilyn Monroe, a mugshot behind the glamour. On February 4, 1954, Marilyn Monroe was pulled over on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles for driving without a license. Even as one of the biggest stars in the world, she wasn't above the law. She was arrested and, like anyone else, had her mugshot taken. But even in that unguarded moment, Marilyn's beauty was undeniable. Her platinum hair, soft gaze, it's a hauntingly glamorous photo from a difficult chapter in her life. This wasn't just a traffic stop. It happened shortly after her highly publicized split from baseball icon, Joe DiMaggio. Behind the scenes, Marilyn was struggling with fame, with image, with the pressure of always being Marilyn. The mugshot offers a rare look at her vulnerability, a reminder that even icons have real lives, real problems, and moments of being human. It's one snapshot in a life defined by beauty, brilliance, and the constant weight of the spotlight. Jayne Mansfield, beauty, brains, and a tragic legacy. Jayne Mansfield, born Vera Jane Palmer, wasn't just another Hollywood blonde bombshell. She was the symbol of the late 50s and early 60s. Known for her knockout figure and bubbly charm, she lit up the screen in films like Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? With comedic flair that won over fans and critics alike. But behind the curves and camera flashes, a brilliant mind. Jayne reportedly had a staggering IQ of 163, spoke 5 languages, and played both the piano and violin. Yet the public rarely saw past her famous measurements, something she found deeply frustrating. Off-screen, her life was just as dramatic. Lavish parties, high-profile relationships, and motherhood to 5 kids kept her in the headlines. But at just 34, Jayne's life was tragically cut short in a devastating car crash. Today, she remains a symbol of beauty, brains, and the bittersweet cost of fame. Ella Raines, the noir star, discovered by a Hollywood legend. Born in Snoqualmie Falls, Washington, Ella Raines never imagined Hollywood fame was in the cards. She studied drama at the University of Washington, but fate stepped in when director Howard Hawks spotted her talent. He was so impressed he made her the only contract star for his company, BH Productions. That kind of break? Almost unheard of. Ella made her film debut in Corvette K225 in 1943, and quickly made waves with standout roles in Phantom Lady and Brute Force. Known for her sultry, mysterious presence, she became a staple of film noir, but she didn't stop there. From thrillers and westerns to light comedies, Ella's versatility kept her in demand. She acted alongside Hollywood legends like John Wayne, Burt Lancaster, and William Powell, holding her own every time. Marilyn and JFK, a fantasy frozen in time. At first glance, this photo feels like a flashback, but look closer. It's not really Marilyn Monroe and President John F. Kennedy. It's a carefully staged image using lookalikes to recreate a moment that never officially existed. Still, it instantly draws you in. Why? Because it taps into one of the most persistent and seductive rumors in American pop culture: the alleged affair between Monroe and JFK. Though never confirmed, the whispers, the glances, the infamous "Happy birthday, Mr. President." They've kept the legend alive for decades. This photo doesn't try to tell the truth. Instead, it plays with the myth. It blurs the line between memory and imagination, between fact and fantasy. It's a visual wink to our obsession with fame, scandal, and the human stories we create around icons. Raquel Welch, the bikini that launched a legend. This behind-the-scenes photo from the 1966 film 1 Million Years BC captures the exact moment Raquel Welch stepped into pop culture history. Playing Lyon, a fierce cave woman in a prehistoric world of dinosaurs in danger, Welch became the face of the film and an icon almost overnight. Produced by Hammer Films, the movie blended fantasy and spectacle with cutting-edge stop-motion effects that brought its dinosaurs to life. But it was that legendary two-piece deerskin bikini that stole the show. The image of Raquel in it became one of the most famous posters of all time. This wasn't just a breakout role, it was a turning point. That costume turned Raquel Welch into a global symbol, but also marked the beginning of a dynamic, decades-long career. This photo? It's more than a movie set moment. It's the birth of a cinematic legend. Red Lipstick and Revolution, the USSR's first beauty pageant. This photo flashes us back to 1988, a moment that would have been unthinkable just a few years earlier. The Soviet Union's first ever beauty contest. For decades, such events were dismissed as shallow, even dangerous, symbols of Western vanity and excess. But by the late 80s, the Soviet landscape was shifting. With Gorbachev's perestroika and glasnost encouraging openness and reform, cracks in the old order were beginning to show. This beauty pageant became more than just a contest. It was a cultural turning point. Young women strutted on stage not just in heels, but with hope. The event symbolized a quiet rebellion, a desire for self-expression in a society that had long discouraged it. It wasn't just about glamour, it was about change. In a system built on control, this moment of sparkle and spectacle was radical. It showed the world that even behind the Iron Curtain, people were ready to dream differently. Do you think fame and scandal go hand in hand, or can one exist without the other? Rita Hayworth, serving more than stardom at the Hollywood canteen. This touching photo from 1943 shows Rita Hayworth, one of Hollywood's brightest stars, serving pie. Not on a movie set, but at the Hollywood canteen. Here, in the midst of World War II, glamour met gratitude. The Hollywood canteen, founded by Bette Davis and John Garfield, was more than a nightclub. It was a sanctuary for troops. From 1942 to 1945, servicemen and women could enjoy a warm meal, live entertainment, and sometimes a dance with their favorite movie star, all for free. Seeing Rita Hayworth, usually the picture of elegance, handing out dessert to young soldiers about to ship off to war? It's powerful. It's real. It shows how the stars of the silver screen stepped down from the spotlight to stand shoulder to shoulder with those in uniform. This image isn't just about food. It's about unity, hope, and Hollywood, doing its part when the world needed it most. Isadora Duncan, the scarf that silenced a dance legend. This haunting photo tells the story of a beautiful accessory that became a symbol of devastating loss. On September 14, 1927, in Nice, France, legendary dancer Isadora Duncan stepped into a car wearing a long, flowing silk scarf, a gift from her friend Mary Desty. Moments later, tragedy struck. As the car accelerated, the scarf caught in the rear wheel. In an instant, it tightened around her neck, pulling her from the vehicle and breaking it. Isadora was killed instantly. A tragic, surreal ending for a woman who had moved with such grace and freedom on stage. Duncan was more than a dancer. She was a revolutionary. Her expressive, barefoot performances changed the world of dance forever. This scarf, once a symbol of elegance, became a reminder of life's unpredictability and the fine thread between beauty and tragedy. French New Wave in motion, Karina and Belmondo on set. This behind-the-scenes photo from A Woman is a Woman captures the very heartbeat of the French New Wave. Shot in 1961, it shows Anna Karina and Jean-Paul Belmondo in a quiet moment between takes, two icons of a movement that redefined cinema. Directed by Jean-Luc Godard, the film breaks all the rules. It's part romantic comedy, part social commentary, and totally unconventional. Karina plays Angela, a striptease artist on a mission to have a baby. Belmondo is Alfred, the best friend caught in the emotional crossfire. Their chemistry is electric, raw, playful, and irresistibly modern. Goddard's use of jump cuts, handheld cameras, and characters who know they're in a movie turned filmmaking on its head. This photo doesn't just show two actors, it captures the spirit of rebellion, youth, and artistry that made the French New Wave a revolution on screen. Raquel Welch, more than a pinup queen. This striking image of Raquel Welch from the 1970s captures her at the height of her fame, as one of Playboy's most admired women and a symbol of the decade's vision of beauty and strength. Her status as a sex symbol exploded with 1 million years BC, where that iconic fur bikini became more than a costume. It became a cultural phenomenon. Posters of Raquel lined bedroom walls around the world, but there was so much more to her than a single snapshot. Raquel had a magnetic presence and real talent that shone through in every role she took. Whether she was starring in comedies, action flicks, or dramas, she proved time and again that she was more than just a pretty face. Sharon Stone, before the fame, the spark was already there. This photo of Sharon Stone from 1983 captures a rising star just before her breakthrough. Though Basic Instinct was still years away, she was already carving out her space in Hollywood, with talent, poise, and a spark that couldn't be ignored. In the early 80s, Sharon appeared in films like Stardust Memories and Deadly Blessing, and made guest appearances on popular shows like Magnum, P.I., and Silver Spoons. Whether it was comedy or drama, she handled it all with ease. One of her standout performances came in Irreconcilable Differences, where she played a woman caught in the unraveling of a marriage, showcasing emotional depth that critics began to take notice of. Who's someone from history you think deserves a deeper look in a future episode? Marilyn Monroe, her final photo shoot, her last glimmer. This 1962 photo shoot stands as one of the last times Marilyn Monroe was ever captured on film. The images are striking, not just for their beauty, but for their quiet vulnerability. Marilyn had recently undergone surgery, and her noticeably slimmer frame tells part of the story. These photos were meant to promote her film, Something's Got to Give, a project she never got to finish. Just weeks after this shoot, Marilyn passed away, leaving Hollywood and the world in shock. Knowing the timing gives these images an emotional weight. Marilyn, even in her final days, radiated the same luminous charm that made her a star. But behind her smile, there's a fragility that speaks volumes. This wasn't just another glam session, it was a farewell in soft focus. A final glimpse at a legend whose light, though dimmed too soon, continues to shine through every frame. Candy Barr, the burlesque star with a dangerous past. This striking photo captures Candy Barr, born Juanita Dale Slusher in 1935, a woman who lit up the stage and stirred up headlines across mid-century America. Rising to fame in the 1950s, Candy was more than just a burlesque dancer. She was a force. With her magnetic stage presence, she became a fixture in clubs from Dallas to Las Vegas, leaving audiences spellbound. But Candy's life wasn't all sequins and spotlight. Offstage, her world was laced with controversy. She served prison time after a high-profile marijuana conviction, and her name was often linked with dangerous men, most notably mobster Mickey Cohen and Jack Ruby, the man who killed Lee Harvey Oswald. She wasn't just a performer. She was a symbol of an era defined by rebellion, scandal, and the blurred line between fame and infamy. Brigitte Bardot, the film that made her a legend. This 1956 photograph captures Brigitte Bardot on the edge of superstardom. That same year, everything changed with the release of In God Created Woman, directed by her then-husband Roger Vadim. The film didn't just launch her career, it ignited an international sensation. With her sun-kissed hair, bare feet, and rebellious charm, Bardot became the embodiment of a new kind of femininity, bold, free, and unapologetically sensual. The film shocked conservative audiences, but younger generations saw something else. A woman unbound by tradition, living life on her own terms. This wasn't just about beauty, it was about attitude. Bardot's portrayal of a carefree, independent woman challenged norms and helped reshape how women were represented on screen. This image freezes that moment in time, the dawn of a cultural shift, led by a woman who would become one of the most iconic figures of 20th century cinema. Lisa Lyon, the woman who redefined strength. This powerful photo captures Lisa Lyon, a trailblazer who changed the face of women's bodybuilding forever. Born in 1953, Lisa made history in 1979 when she won the very first International Federation of Bodybuilders Women's World Pro Championship in Los Angeles. Up until then, bodybuilding was a male-dominated world. Women weren't seen as competitors, let alone champions. But Lisa shattered those expectations. Her win wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a statement. It proved that strength and femininity could exist side by side. Lisa brought grace, discipline, and visibility to a sport that had long excluded women. She posed for major magazines, worked with photographers like Robert Mapplethorpe, and became a symbol of empowerment and possibility. Marilyn Monroe, glamour in a potato sack. This unforgettable 1950 photograph shows Marilyn Monroe doing the impossible, turning a burlap potato sack into a fashion statement. But it wasn't just for fun, it was a cheeky clapback to a critic who said she'd look better in a sack than in a designer gown. 20th Century Fox's PR team jumped at the chance to spin that jab into genius publicity. They styled Marilyn in the sack, added a belt and heels, and set up a photo shoot. The result? Pure Hollywood magic. Marilyn glows in the photo, playful, radiant, and totally in control. It wasn't just about looking good in anything, it was about proving a point. That confidence, charisma, and star power can outshine even the most ridiculous outfit. This image became more than a joke. It turned into a symbol of Monroe's timeless appeal and the studio's savvy in transforming criticism into iconic glamour. Breaking stereotypes. Women and the wheel in the 1920s. This striking photo from the 1920s shows a woman hard at work on a car, wrench in hand, sleeves rolled up. It's more than just a snapshot. It's a symbol of shifting roles during a decade of dramatic social change. The Roaring '20s weren't just about jazz and flapper dresses. With the rise of the automobile, a new kind of freedom hit the open road. And women weren't content to just ride in the passenger seat. They were driving, repairing, and learning the mechanics behind the wheel. This image defies the norms of its time, showing a woman stepping into a space society once said didn't belong to her. She's not just fixing a car, she's helping drive a cultural shift, one turn of the wrench at a time. Betty Burstom and the birth of Dior's new look. This isn't just a photo of a glamorous woman, it's a snapshot of Paris at a turning point. The year was 1947. World War II had ended, and Paris was rediscovering its heartbeat. Fashion, long stifled by rationing and practicality, was making a bold comeback. Christian Dior had just launched his legendary new look. Cinched waists, flowing skirts, and a return to femininity. It was more than style, it was a symbol of hope and rebirth. Enter Betty Burstom. She may not have reached the heights of Marilyn Monroe, but in this moment, Betty was Paris. Elegant, poised, and full of promise. Her presence during this fashion revolution speaks volumes. She represented countless aspiring actresses chasing dreams in a world that often spotlighted only a few. This image captures more than beauty. It captures the spirit of reinvention, ambition, and the resilience of a city and a generation. Ready to shine again. Bertha Benz, the first road trip that changed history. This photo marks more than a moment. It tells the story of Bertha Benz, the woman who took the world's first long-distance car trip. And she didn't do it for fun. She did it to prove that her husband Carl Benz's invention, the Benz patent motor wagon, actually worked. On August 5, 1888, without telling Carl, Bertha set off from Mannheim with her sons, heading to Pforzheim, over 65 miles away. That might not sound far today, but back then, no paved roads, no gas stations, no GPS. Just grit and determination. When the car broke down, Bertha used a hat pin to unclog a fuel line. She stopped at a cobbler to add leather to the brakes, basically inventing brake pads. And when she needed fuel, she bought Lyon at a pharmacy, creating the world's first gas stop. Bertha wasn't just a passenger in history. She was behind the wheel, changing the course of transportation forever. The miniskirt, fashion's boldest revolution. In the 1960s, designers like Mary Quant and André Courrèges tore up the rulebook, literally shortening it. Out went the conservative styles of the 50s and in came the miniskirt. Daring, youthful, and revolutionary. This wasn't just a fashion trend. It arrived alongside major societal shifts, the rise of the contraceptive pill, more women in the workforce, and growing feminist movements. Young women embraced the miniskirt as a symbol of freedom. Freedom to express themselves, their bodies, and their independence. By 1966, women were protesting fashion houses trying to bring back longer skirts, chanting, "Miniskirts forever!" That's how powerful this little garment had become. Of course, not everyone approved. Critics called it shocking. But by decade's end, the miniskirt wasn't just mainstream, it was iconic. It represented a new kind of woman, bold, confident, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. Fashion had become a form of protest, and the world noticed. The strength behind the silence. Training for civil rights. This striking photo offers a rare glimpse into the heart of the civil rights movement. A training session for young black activists. Here, a young girl is learning something extraordinary: how to stay calm while facing cruelty. These workshops weren't just about marching or slogans. They were about preparing for the worst: verbal abuse, physical attacks, and the ever-present threat of violence from segregationists and even law enforcement. Activists trained themselves to respond with dignity, not rage. It was the core of nonviolent resistance. Can you imagine the courage it took? To be yelled at, spit on, even hit, and not strike back? That kind of strength doesn't just happen. It's taught, it's earned. This image captures the quiet bravery that powered a movement. It reminds us that behind every protest, every sit-in, every march, was discipline, training, and an unshakable belief in justice through peace. Which photo surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through the forgotten and the iconic, check out the rest of our series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Past Not Past with a fellow history lover. Thanks for watching and stay curious.